wonderful Pacific chapters. Representatives from the Siromi
region really varies and depends on what is relevant for each country context. Of course, working on corruption. I'd like to acknowledge the various stakeholders that are present in this here, and then, generally, members really appreciate it. And
the executive directors of the respective Transparency International offices in the Pacific, Ms. Clancy Moore, IT Australia, Ms. Andrea Cashman, IT PNG, and Ms. Julie Heggie, IT New Zealand. The Commissioners for Independent Commission Against Corruption, Mr. Aslam Resmi, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to you all. It is a pleasure to be here. And I must thank the organizers for this opportunity to offer remarks at the regional panel event on the Global Corruption Barometer Pacific 2021. As Fiji's Attorney General and Minister for Justice, this is particular interest and importance as my ministry is tasked with overseeing the efficient operation of the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption, commonly known as FICAC, and the governing laws concerning anti-corruption and bribery matters. These include the Constitution of the Republic of Fiji, the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption Act 2007, the Prevention of Bribery Act 2007, the Crimes Act 2009, the Electoral Act 2014, and the Financial Management Act 2004, to name a few. Other relevant agencies include the Office of the Director Public of Prosecution, the Financial Intelligence Unit, commonly known as FIU, the Fiji Police Force, Reserve Bank of Fiji, the Fiji Revenue Customs Service. With the assistance of these agencies, FICAC has to date taken over 350 cases of corruption to court, with over 500 individuals charged with corruption-related offenses. In defining official corruption, Justice Fatayaki, as he then was known, in State and Sherwebeli Aisake, Criminal Appeal number 6 of 1993, stated, and I quote, "It is not merely enough to prove that a favor had been shown by a civil servant in the discharge of his duties, or that a benefit or property had been received by the civil servant. Additionally, it must be shown that the two elements are so linked in time and circumstances as to give rise to an irresistible inference that the transaction was a corrupt one. If there is a link between the payment and him doing something in pursuance of his public duty, the reward must relate to something done or omitted to be done in respect of a matter to which his employer is concerned. In other words, the offense of official corruption lies not in showing favor to someone, but rather in accepting a reward for doing so." Unquote. Significantly, Fiji has once again been included in Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index, CPI, in 2022, after a lapse of 17 years. The CPI and the Global Corruption Barometer Pacific 2021 report provides valuable indicators as to the existence of corruption and rated Fiji within the first 50 least corrupt countries. This, of course, is a progressive step for Fiji, but there is much more than can be done, and we must not be complacent now more than ever. It is worth noting that some of these indicators for Fiji, and I would like to briefly touch on these. First, bribery. Personal experiences with corruption and accessing public service. Fiji scored the lowest level of bribery rate of 5% amongst other countries surveyed. This is a remarkable achievement, as bribery prevalence is the very root cause of the institutional and systematic corruption. The second is the misuse of personal connection. The misuse of personal connection, or who you know, practice was also a criterion to measure corruption. The public service users who use their personal connections or call in personal favors was the specific issue and surveyed, and Fiji scored the lowest rate of 17%, though higher as compared to that of bribery. The third is a corruption by institution. Overall, all institutions scored less than 20%. The perception that people had was that Member of Parliament, and I'm concerned by this, and the police were institutions with the highest corruption rate of 17%. This really needs to be shared to Members of Parliament. Maybe you should have a separate session with them. This is another, whilst the business executives rated 15%. This is another indication of issues of corruption within businesses and ultimately how decision making is affected. I mean, let's accept it. Business, for them to escalate their business, opening new doors, they have to use political interest. I myself have to attest to this. People who want to have a meeting on a whole range of issues. So basically when they come, okay, I'm going to write covering letter for it. But some business that I thought that has no relevance at all to my duty, these are the business who forward for various reasons, and that includes the members of the public who wants to use my office to be assisted or to access justice or to access assistance. Sex extortion. This has been the act of threatening to share nude, explicit images for the money or sexual favors, something that has probably grown over the years in the South Pacific, including Fiji. Although Fiji scored a relatively low rate of 11%, this is an area of concern due to severe ramifications of these types of activities affecting the society given its prevalence. I can attest to the fact that as a magistrate for 80 years, there have been many matters that come before the court in terms of family matters, where one party, the one who has power or also is vulnerable, uses these images to threat the other party. On many occasions, I have to make certain orders to stop these images being shared on a social media or even refer them to police. It's something that is going to grow given the relatively high access of the Fijian population to social media. Vote buying and electoral bribery. Fiji scored one of the lowest levels of electoral bribery rate of 4%, being the second lowest in the Pacific. It is a priority that this government to ensure that the integrity of the electoral process is upheld. On this note, may I say that the coalition government is committed to taking steps to reform the electoral process to make it more transparent and easy. One of the first things that struck me as I fill in my application to stand for election is the enormity of documents that one has to fill in. I would have thought standing for election is just a relatively simple and enjoyable process. Not anymore. But what we'll do, we are going to consult members of the public, starting with the political parties and of course civil societies, and how we can make election a fair and transparent one. Areas that needed improvement. In 2021, while 56% of the people who participated in the survey stated that the government was doing well in tackling corruptions, 30% stated otherwise. 68% stated that corruption within Fiji with the government was a big problem. And 61% stated that corruption also existed in private sector. I believe in the years to come that this percentage will probably stay the same given the high activity of business and government activities as it embark on a 4-year journey. Furthermore, the issue of lack of government consideration in views on improvement were resounding 39%. 37% said that this was done occasionally, whilst only 50% said the government frequently considered their views. Only 15% believe the government listened frequently. This is a concern. I think for any government who projects itself as a true democratic government with the rule of law, it needs to listen to its people. And I can safely boast here that after 16 long years of doors being shut to the members of the public of Fiji, we have opened their door to provide freedom to the people of Fiji. Rest assured that in my capacity as Attorney General, Minister of Justice, we will try and review or resurrect some of these institutions that will pave the way for the freedom of information and the liberty of the people of Fiji. The way forward. The coalition government is committed to consider the views of every person in all important decision-making affecting the people. We now have a government that listens. Our people's perceptions and experiences are important to us and necessary for any progressive policy making. This includes strengthening institutional laws and policies for responsible reporting of corrupt practices, whistleblowing, capacity building, as well as increased awareness focus on programs in communities. With the support and cooperation of all members of society, civil societies, NGOs, the government support, meticulous planning and commitment, and of course with assistance from organizations such as Transparency International, we can collectively eradicate corruption. I hope that the program today will be an interactive and meaningful one as we move forward to another year. Thank you once again. I officially declare open our session this morning. Nabalik.